If Jack in the Box is your go-to fast food, you're almost certainly in the minority. The burger joint and its witty mascot isn't for everyone, and there's a number of reasons why. If you've ever been hit with an E. coli infection, you'll never forget it. And for a lot of older millennials, Jack in the Box is forever tainted by the memory of one of the worst outbreaks in fast food history. In the early 90s, a string of infected, undercooked Jack in the Box burgers containing a nasty strain of E. coli caused over 700 people in 4 states to fall ill.
We took the extraordinary step at that point and replaced all the hamburger patties in every restaurant in Washington and Idaho.
4 people died, and others suffered permanent organ and brain damage. Jack in the Box reacted quickly, but for many, the damage to the brand was done. If you think Jack in the Box's prices have gone up in recent years, you're not alone. Threads discussing the chain's rising prices have become common on the internet. Some people have shared tips for saving money on orders, such as joining the company's loyalty rewards program or utilizing its coupons through the app. But not everyone is into the idea of having to take extra steps to save a buck. As one customer complained on Reddit, "I'm tired of the app dealio. Just treat all your customers the same. Screw apps, coupons, etc. Just give me that same deal without the extra work on my end." While lowering the price tags attached to its food overall would likely restore some lost customer loyalty, we're not sure when or if we can expect this kind of change. Plant-based alternatives to meat have never been more popular. And while chains like Burger King and McDonald's are on board with plant-based patties, meat continues to dominate at Jack in the Box. For many vegetarian and vegan consumers, that makes the chain a no-go. In fact, there are currently no vegetarian entrees offered at Jack in the Box. The closest you'll get is the chicken teriyaki bowl, if you request it with no chicken. While there are a few sides that are safe for plant-based eaters, such as the French fries or the applesauce pouches, it's not like they're vegan on purpose or all that satisfying as a standalone meal. Everyone hates not getting enough ketchup with their fries, but with Jack in the Box, that bad break feels more like company policy. And according to some employees, it is. The consensus on Reddit is that Jack in the Box is notoriously stingy with the number of sauce packets employees are allowed to hand out. One former worker claimed that his location only allowed one to be handed out for free, and each additional sauce came with an upcharge of 30 to 40 cents. A recent photo posted by another Redditor backed up the claim. It featured an actual sauce policy chart hanging in the window of a Jack in the Box drive-thru. Nostalgia is a powerful thing, so when Jack in the Box decided to use a new bun brand in 2016, it was playing a dangerous game.
Let me show you some of its features. Sesame seed finish.
Gone was the original seeded bun, and in its place was a brand new, smooth split-top bun, shattering some customers' loyalty for good. Many who had grown up devouring the seedy buns lamented over the swap. One customer even started a Change.org petition, calling the new buttered buns a monstrosity, while clamoring for the classic variant to be brought back. Sadly, these complaints have fallen on deaf ears, and Jack in the Box stands faithfully by its new buns. On fast food menus, products come and go, but that doesn't mean it's not disappointing when it happens. In some cases, one disappearing item can put some people off a franchise forever. Jack in the Box has cycled through many products over the years, from sriracha sandwiches to mini beef burgers. Their list of discontinued items is so long and distinguished, some admit they haven't felt the desire to return to the chain. Still, there is a hint of good news here. Employees insist that Jack in the Box is notorious for rotating items frequently according to the season and company needs. This means that if you're missing your favorite item, there's still a chance it could be brought back, and your desire to pay Jack a visit may return with it. Nobody likes food that's too greasy, but Jack in the Box doesn't seem to know it. Numerous threads on online platforms highlight that Jack in the Box serves extra greasy food, with some going so far as to reference an off-putting, gritty texture to some of the items. In addition to making food feel slippery, wet, and heavy, consuming too much grease can cause diarrhea, stomach pain, nausea, or bloating in the short term. Since grease increases a meal's calorie count, foods coated in it can also lead to obesity in the long term. No wonder many health-conscious consumers maintain some serious reservations regarding Jack in the Box's greasy reputation. Staying open round the clock is a great way to reel in late-night diners when the rest of the world is closed.
At night.
Jack in the Box proudly claims to serve meals 24 hours a day, but that's a lie, according to some customers who've tried to stop by during off hours. And it's put a decidedly distrusting aura around the alleged 24/7 policy.
I don't care if we have to stay open till the day after the end of time.
Multiple Redditors have called out their local Jack in the Box locations for being closed at unpredictable times overnight. Those claiming to be employees admit that many stores have break times built in, where there's limited staff working and people can only be served via the drive-thru.
At night!
Others claim that some locations will close completely and turn their machines off for 1 to 2 hours during the slowest times of night. These closures appear highly dependent upon location and don't happen everywhere, but it can make stopping at Jack in the Box a little difficult if you need food.
At night.
So, we can't blame anyone if they choose another, more reliable 24/7 chain for their midnight burger fix. Any fast food restaurant that can't turn around orders quickly will have a hard time hanging on to customers. And Jack in the Box is starting to see that. Customers regularly complain of long wait times online, from slow drive-thru service to receiving DoorDash orders late. One frustrated customer took to Reddit claiming to have waited an entire hour for their order. A few purported employees blamed it on staffing and management issues. Whatever the reason, the reality is that it's made the chain downright unattractive to some patrons. Dining at a chain restaurant should mean you know exactly what you're going to get no matter where you are in the world. Slight regional menu differences aside, the taste and quality is supposed to remain standard across the board, but not at Jack in the Box. Customers frequently point out major consistency issues between locations. While there are decent Jack locations that put out tasty food, there are also those that send bland and unappealing meals out the door without a second thought. From waffle sticks to creamy milkshakes and spicy tacos, Jack in the Box carries a wide selection of food, but that doesn't mean they're all slam dunks. According to customers, while Jack in the Box might score an A+ in the way of choices, its overall grade for taste and quality falls much lower on the scale. In a thread discussing how the company maintains such an average reputation among chains, one Redditor observed, "They're a jack of all foods, master of none." Of course, taste is subjective, and if you're one of those enthusiastic Jack in the Box fans, don't be dissuaded by the naysayers. Continue to rep your preferred restaurant proudly. We just hope you don't overpay for sauce.